That's on. Is Chris coming back? Or you gone?
No, he's gone, or no, he's coming back?
No, he's not coming back. He's left the
So
building.
yes, he's gone.
Yes, he's gone.
No, he's not coming back.
No, he's not coming back.
And yes, he's gone.
But I'm here.
More importantly.
Welcome.
I'm here on tape.
All right. Gents, we're going to start this meeting. You're being recorded, Jim.
Yeah.
Don't talk too badly about Lake Forest. Jim Hospodarski. All right. I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting for the City of Highwood. It is Tuesday, October 16th, 2018. It is 7:38 in the evening. Roll call, please.
Alderman Culver.
Here.
Hospodarski.
Here.
Bury. Peterson.
Here.
Slavin.
Here.
All right, if everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First up on the agenda is review of the minutes. We did that in pre-session, no changes, so if I can get a motion to approve 2.1 for the September 18th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-2. Committee of the whole minutes for September 18th, 2018. So moved. Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have no appointments this evening. Next item on the agenda is approval of warrant list dated 10/16/2018. Nothing really challenging was on that. I think the big payment's coming next meeting, which was for Euclid Court, correct?
The road reconstruction will be our largest expenditure of the year.
No further questions. A motion to approve the warrant list, please.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Peterson.
Aye.
Hospodarski.
Aye.
Culver.
Yes.
Slavin.
Yes. Just thought I'd throw one out there. You can go ahead and sign the check now.
Thank you. Oh, wait, it's done. Let's see, public items, input items not on the agenda. Did you want to address the city council?
Yes,
Is it not on the agenda?
it's not on the
All
agenda.
right, then you're up. Perfect, how are you?
Good. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeff Leon. I'm president of the board. Charlie and Andy can tell you I've been buttonholing them all summer about what's going on with the library and what we can do to join the world of library access. They've told me that there are some discussions going on of a variety of natures. What I'm here to ask is, let's stop having discussions and let's make some decisions, and I'll be pretty concrete about it. We kept frankly, our Highland Park Library card long past the time we were supposed to. Finally, my wife had to go get a new card and she couldn't produce a valid current Highland Park driver's license, so we got thrown into the library ghetto known as the Highwood Library. And I don't mean to slam the Highwood Library too severely, because it's not bad for a 5,000 person town to have a library like ours. If we lived in rural New Hampshire, it would be downright fantastic. But we don't live in rural New Hampshire. We live in the North Shore of Chicago. And there is a consortium of 25 libraries and library districts called CCS, which provides access collectively to its members to over 1 million titles that will be delivered to the library of your choice within the system if you place a hold. And it will automatically queue it, and you can manage it online, you can find the books online, you can do all of this. I used to be able to do it. Even after I got my Highwood card, I could do it. Now, I lost some privileges. I went down from being able to have 50 items on hold to 20. There are certain things I'm not allowed to take out as a Highwood resident, like new 2-day movies and certain video games for my kids. Yes.
Is this at Highland Park you're
This
referring
is
to?
at Highland Park. CCS put a new online system in place in April for the first 3 weeks after that went online. Nothing had changed. I could still have my more limited access to placing holds, etc. And then about 3 weeks later, it stopped. And I talked to the people at Highland Park. I was kind of getting the runaround about it a little bit. But the bottom line was they just told me, just take your list to the reference librarian and they'll just override and enter it. And that was working, as not ideal as that is on both ends, because frankly, it's an absurd waste of the time of the reference librarians. Until a couple weeks ago, when the reference librarians were placing the holds and the system was canceling them. And they're basically, to speak in slightly Trumpian terms, they are squeezing our you-know-whats. And they're squeezing them harder and harder. And why are they doing that? Because we cost them money. We are users of that library. This town is a user of that library, not this library. When I take my kids into the Highwood Library, they don't know anybody. When I take my kids into the Highland Park Library, they see all their classmates. We're in a shared school district. The book match books are all at the Highland Park Library. That's where they go. That's the librarian that runs the program. Everything is out of there. When we place a hold, there's a charge to the system for the delivery of the book. This particular book I'm reading right now, I got on hold before my privileges started being restricted to the point of non-existence, is from the Eula area public library district in Lake Zurich, wherever, I know where Lake Zurich is, but the point is it's a consortium. We need to be part of this system, and there's no excuse for not making that happen immediately. The ultimate disposition of our library is a longer term issue. What's not a longer term issue is providing your residents access to an appropriate level of library services. It's there for the taking. There are a couple ways to make this happen. I'm enough of a pain in the ass where today I picked up the phone and I called the director, Rebecca, of CCS. I started asking questions. She hadn't spoken to anybody from Highwood, which is a little surprising since I heard that you guys were talking about options, one of which has to be, can Highwood become a member of CCS, stay independent? Well, the answer is yes, you can. It would cost around $65,000 a year, which is about $13 per resident per year, to provide access to over 1 million books, movies, CDs. Access to far more than that in the form of electronic, downloadable, and streaming media. All of that. And that can be made to happen fairly quickly. Not that we become part of the CCS system, because that's going to take months. And that's a decision that has to be made as to whether it's worth that effort. Because you have to migrate the online system, primitive as it is, from Highwood onto the broader system. And she told me that's a 6 to 8 month period. But at least if we did that, we would get CCS member access rights at Highland Park. Okay? So that's one option. Another option is the various forms of merger with Highland Park, or make some payment to Highland Park, at least temporarily. If it's going to take a year to come up with a plan for the long-term direction of our library, then let's talk to Highland Park about what amount of money it would take that we donate or pay to their library to give Highwood residents the same level of service as a Highland Park resident. Now, they're paying $75,000 a year. That's what the larger libraries pay to be members of CCS. So if we even pay for half of that, that's an enormous subsidy to them and an enormous benefit to us, because we're getting into CCS at half the cost. And we're able to do it fairly immediately. So I just wanted to let you guys know what's going on. I don't know of any of you other than Andy who I've lamented about this situation with at our kids' baseball game. Not because our kids' baseball games are so horrible. That's one of the things we can talk about. It's not been a good Good fall season for the 5th and 6th graders on the Blue Demons. Highland Park Blue Demons, by the way, again, further evidence of how tightly tied together we all are as a community. But you should know this is occurring, and I know because I talked to people when they move into the fort. It's a bit of a shock to find.
We've had the same. We had the same issue moving to the fort. I do have a question. Do we still have a spot on the board over there? Because that's the way you want to do it. You might as well go join the board. They're looking for people.
Well,
the library actually.
I don't think they want me on the library board, to be perfectly honest.
Well, you'd be surprised. Have you spoken to any of them?
No, but all I'm saying is if you want my God's honest view, our library, I don't think we should have a library. I don't.
But maybe you
The
should.
library that I think we should have, the library that I think we should have is what my sister calls a learning commons. My sister is a advanced degree academic reference library at the University of Nevada. And she's in charge of the undergraduate library, and they've been getting rid of the books forever and just creating huge workspaces with enormous electronic connectivity. That's what a great use of space would be.
We never thought of that.
For Highwood.
We've had these conversations,
we
in
had
this
a
room,
conversation a
amongst
week
this
ago.
concept, we've had these conversations, and we've relied on the library and the direction of the library.
You'd be surprised. The board would be very open to things like this, but I think it's a better place for you to have discussion is to meet with the board at the library.
With all due, I hear that, but with all due respect, again, there's long-term and there's short-term.
And they're looking at both right now.
Right, but look, I've been around long enough in my 53 years, both in general life and as a lawyer, to know that the wheels of bureaucracy grind slowly. The library board has its own built-in interests that are, frankly, probably.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Okay, first of all, two things. One, in Highwood, we grind a lot faster than most people, especially nowadays. Right? We move things a lot quicker. The second thing is you do have a board that's in the process of rethinking everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a time to jump on it, this is it. They probably don't even know about certain things, right? So
I'd be
because
willing
here,
to do that.
because
All
I
I'm
can say,
saying is,
I can say here, we're just right now. You're just bouncing it off of us. We have no authority to do anything in the library. It would be the library. It's great to learn about this stuff, but my suggestion to you would be to contact the board. And actually, it's his wife is the president of the board, Lucy, who's very open and intelligent and can really work with you. And she lives in the fort.
Yep.
And you'd be surprised at what you can do.
Your timing is
It's perfect.
auspicious because these conversations are happening in real time right now with Lucy, with the advent of looking for a new director and
And a new direction.
and a new
So you're
director
hitting
with
it
a
right
new
at the right
direction. So I don't think you're feeling that this might be just kind of a slow march to nowhere is actually from the physical building change within the next couple of years to the things that we agree. I've been advocating for basically an electronic library now for 4 years, 5 years sitting here.
Yeah, right now you're preaching to the choir.
So
okay.
I would say that your direction, your ideas, and your impact on the board would be extremely useful right now.
I wonder if, though.
Am I allowed, just as a question, am I allowed to be on two boards?
What's the other board?
Board of Fire
Fire and Police Commission.
Yeah, there's no problem. They don't conflict, do they? No?
I don't think there's a direct
colleague can
Right.
But
That said, just starting the dialogue with the library
Yeah.
president and just getting that dialogue started because everybody up here, I think, we know that we can't have business as usual with the library. It's not sustainable. There's a lot more complexity with the relationship with how we might work with other libraries and the like that we need to think about. But I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want to have that kind of.
But
I agree with you.
I think the most acute problem, though, that was referenced is that, we've had and have still reciprocity with public libraries, maybe even academic libraries, specialty. There's a reciprocity system that exists in the state.
Is that CCS or is that something different?
That's Rails, I believe, is the system.
They're several different. Rails is more dealing with libraries of our size and trying to enhance their scope and scale. I learned that today.
But when you're trying to
CCS
reduce
is
your
a-
footprint, and reduce your scale. Now what-
CCS is a group of 20 or 30 libraries that, among other things, contribute to a public access catalog, an online catalog that
That
they
sounds
use
great.
for, right.
Yeah.
But with, I think what triggered this, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, is just recently CCS changed the provider of the catalog. And following that, certain privileges that Highwood residents had, such as putting holds on books and the like, were stripped away. So I wonder if that, and maybe you know from your conversation, if that was by design, or if that was just kind of an oversight as the result of graduating to this other system.
It was by design,
That's it, probably.
because Rebecca, called and spoke to the Highland Park Library today, and she called me back. Because the Highland Park people were telling me it was CCS, and she vehemently denied it. And got on the phone with them, and I think kind of read on the riot act, because she also told me, they told me they're gonna be considering changing the degree of restriction. Because perhaps she expressed.
So more restrictive or?
Less. Because, but how quickly, or if that was just to quiesce her, I don't know. I think she was displeased to hear that was occurring. It's kind of contrary to the spirit of the
Yeah.
CCS system. They'd like to have us, but
CCS would.
yeah, but on the other hand, there are things we have to do, like commit to certain hours of operation. She didn't give me all the details, but there's nothing wrong with having us. But the more sensible thing to honestly do would be to be part of Highland Park. And if we have our own branch, here, and what it's used for, that can all be worked out in the interim. But my main concern, and again, I'll come back to it and then I'll sit down, because I know you guys have already been going after this
We
for
have
almost 2 hours.
Yeah.
You caught her attention on a hot topic.
But it's like
Very.
a quiet group.
It is, I understand there's certain things the library board has jurisdiction over, but I also understand from, again, talking to Andy, and, maybe Andy's mistaken, but the city council, independent of whatever the library's doing, the city council can take certain steps to basically work intergovernmentally with Highland Park to get us certain rights. It doesn't change what you do here at Highwood. It is additive, additional, and what I would like to see, to be honest, and again, I'm happy to be on the board and work through these things also, but in the short term, would be my request, which is that the city council create a committee, which I understand has to have at least one alderman on it. I'd be happy to be on that committee to work with Highland Park to see what short-term arrangements can be made to benefit Highwood residents. And if there is some financial consequence, I understand that if you're gonna take it out of the library budget, now you're gonna have to get the library board involved, et cetera. I also understand that there may be some extra money lying around, in this fiscal year at least, that could be used for this purpose with Highland Park. But, it's one thing to have the library board sort of doing exploratory discussions with the Highland Park Library. It's another thing if the Highland Park Library hears, okay, the city council is interested in this and wanting to push this forward, to explore what options are available and various iterative steps to get there. So that's my request. Yes, I'm an exceptionally heavy library user.
It sounds that way.
Exceptionally annoyed at what's going on. I don't think it's particularly fair what they've been doing, but it is intentional. They've been blunt. They've said everything you want to do, if you are able to do it, costs us money, and we don't get anything for it. And they're already serving, to a significant extent, the underprivileged population that we have here. And I think they'd be happy to not only do that, but expand it. That's what they've told me. But, they need some additional level of, financial support from us to make that happen. So,
Thank you.
So you're saying it's, let me just clarify real quick. It's 65 for us to join, 75 for HP to join.
right, she said roughly, she said that 63,000 was the smallest you know, the smallest library, and she felt, she didn't wanna give me exact numbers, but,
What's the cost to transfer a book? They tell you that?
no, but it's probably $1 every time, you know, per book, and when you consider, you know, the vans that go around to these 25 libraries, and frankly, I've gotten books from Missouri. I don't even know where or how they come from, but the point is, they pull books. You know, perhaps I like more obscure titles like this translated Italian crime novel. But, you know, that's me. And I know Andy likes his, you know, his self-help and business guru things.
I wonder if that restriction though can just be relaxed with a formal request from us or from.
Is it the, would
The whole
the city
restriction.
council from Highland Park also have to answer a request?
I don't think so. I mean, I wonder if
Is there a separate?
formal request to just restore all the privileges that we had prior to this catalog change, or at minimum, just relax the restriction with the full.
I'm not aware of additional restrictions they've put on, but I can reach out and find out if there are any. Their structure is identical to ours, where they do have a library consisting of a board that's appointed by the mayor specifically. So they do have some influence upon them.
Like another taco run incident, is that what we're saying? Another taco
Thank
run
you, Jeff.
incident?
I mean, I would say that along these lines, if perhaps there was even some sort of non-binding resolution of intent to look at ways to work more interactively and integratively with the Highland Park Library, you could take that to them and say, look, good faith, let's enter this process in good faith, and you know, relax some of the restrictions on Highwood. We want what you want more or less. Let's, you know, figure out how to get there without squeezing the Highwood residents in the interim.
Thank you, Jeff.
That goes to your point.
You've got to look at what you do to create a library, keep it going, at a level that better serve the community than the current is, and then to eliminate it,
Right.
and to say then how you serve the community.
And that's long term.
And that's the long term. So
Short term, I better, there definitely have been privileges that were taken away, again, whether or not it's intentional or not, I'm not, but I know from personal experience there have been, including, but not limited to the ability to hold books. And in an environment like this, that's certainly an important privilege for people to use the library. So it'd be nice to find out what their official position, or their official kind of response is to that. And then the follow on, if it was intentional, as it seems it was, what can be done to relax it or eliminate the restriction.
We'll be
Thank you.
Yeah, and the only thing I would suggest, this would not quickly, this goes back to when we joined MSSRA. At the time, the council drove that, and we did not really get too involved with the people who were running our district, our staff. We kind of did that unilaterally. I always regretted that. I thought that, we should have brought up, because we had, Mike was in charge of, we had a park board, remember, and Mike was in charge of that here at that center. And the council just did that unilaterally. It wasn't that it was a bad city, but I think my point is that I think once the city managers investigated what's going on, let's just make sure we're working collaboratively with the library. Let's not send the city council to do something. I don't think that's showing the right thing, and I think the library would be very open to working with the council to actually do what Mike suggested here. So that's the only thing. We go in together with one.
So let's find out what exactly is happening
Yeah.
first. That would be the first step. And then
Absolutely.
when we find that information
what the
out,
options are.
go back to the library and let them know what we're gonna say. And if they want to add on to it.
Absolutely.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
We're on public input, mayor's report, a couple things before we get to our presentations. I would like to thank the staff for sending out a text. And if you didn't get the text, you will not know when trick-or-treating is. If you'd like to know when trick-or-treating is, go to the website, sign up for the text, and you'll find out that it's Wednesday, October 30th, from 3:30 to 7.
31st.
The 31st?
You
The 30th.
You trick or
We
treat.
put it in hospitals.
Yeah, the eve, we trick or treat.
On the 31st.
It's the
3:30 to 7.
It's the 26th is the business one.
That's what it was. All right, so let's end that one, 7-1. And Flanagan Bassey, come on up. You're first on the health insurance on the federal marketplace.
Hello. I'll echo that Liz is wonderful to work with. Anyway, so, hi, I'm Flanagan Bassey. I'm the supervisor for Moraine Township. And once again, for the 6th year, we started this when the marketplace opened October 1st, 2013. We have volunteers who train with the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare and help residents enroll for health insurance on the open marketplace. The open enrollment was in the past 90 days. It's now 45 days, from November 1st to December 15th. So we're always concerned that people will get wrapped up in the holidays and then it'll be too late to get health insurance for all of 2019. Our counselors, all of them but one, have been with us from the very beginning, from October of 2013. They are so good. They will spend hours with people trying to help them find their doctors, identify hospitals, balance their medical needs and their budgets, make sure that they get any subsidies they may be qualified to receive to help them afford the premium. And if they're 200% of the poverty line or below, they can also get help paying deductibles and copays. So it's huge for the large number of people who work in jobs that do not provide health insurance but can't afford the exorbitant premiums. So we have this incredible core of volunteers. Anyone who wants to get an appointment, our number, and I'm going to leave these. Candy, can we put these downstairs? And there are takeaway business cards in English and Spanish, one side and the other. But call 847, the township office, 847-432-3240, and we'll set up an appointment for you with a counselor. And they really do take however long is necessary to get it done. And we've actually had enrollees come back year after year. And as long as I'm here, can I do a couple of other things?
Sure.
All right. Moraine Township has moved. We moved across the street to where.
Looks nice.
Yes, it's really wonderful. We own the building, and so we hope once we get stabilized, we'll be able to. We've reduced the levy 2 out of the last 5 years and frozen at the other 3. But saving rent going forward should be helpful. We've purchased out of our reserves, and but it's wonderful. We have an ADA food pantry. In the old space, it was really a great, wonderful space that we had, but the pantry was in the basement with no elevator. We now have a fully client choice food pantry, and we raised $107,000 from the public and businesses and residents to equip it. And bought the shelving at the Toys R Us liquidation sale and did many, many things.
Got another one liquidating Sears, you know, they,
no, we're set. Anyway, we have an open house for the public next Tuesday, October 23rd, from 5:30 to 7. Our address is 800 Central Avenue. I think Scott sent you the invitation. We hope you'll all come. And you know, we're in a new location, but we have the same great services. And I wanted just to remind you of the services that people can get at the township office. So I'm going to pass these around.
what time was that on the 23rd again?
5:30 to 7. However, for agency staff, for city staff, for the school counselors and social workers, we have one from 3:30 to 4:30. So whatever one is more convenient for you, we won't turn you away. And just as a reminder, we have a door-to-door van that's available for residents that will take them 15 miles outside the township border to medical appointments or quality of life, just to help people age in place. When you don't drive, it can be very difficult to age in place. The van is $4 each way. It's $2 if you're income qualified, and if you have no income, we take you for free. We help people with RTA discount cards, voter registration service, free notary services, enrolling in health insurance. We also process passport applications. And then for income qualified residents, those services are available to any resident of Moraine Township. For income qualified residents, we have general and emergency assistance, a food pantry, help enrolling in utility assistance, which is going on now for seniors. It's just a revolving door in our office. Medical alert monitoring that we pay for low-income seniors who live alone. Application help for enrolling in Medicaid, benefit access, SNAP, TANF, and resource referral for specific needs. We also, in the winter, do income tax return preparation through a volunteer program, again, volunteers trained with IRS, and help people from February through April do income taxes for free. And the township assessor, which of course you'll all want to come visit. And they'll have a show and tell at the open house where they'll help you look up your neighbor's assessment, and they'll help you look at your property tax record. And if we say you have a finished basement and you don't, you can get it corrected. So it's lots going on. And just as a reminder, the health insurance enrollment, while most of our services that are taxpayer funded are limited to Moraine Township, our health insurance enrollment and our income tax preparation are operated by volunteers. I mean, we oversee the program and make sure it's operated properly, but it's volunteer operated. So we will see anybody. If you work in Highwood but live someplace else, you can come to our office for this service. So.
Is this something that we can send out on one of our alerts that we probably get to all of our constituents?
I happen to have the ability to give it to you electronically.
That would do a much better job than here when there's nobody watching.
Sure.
Is the
Well, and the
passport-
other thing I wanted to remind you about the food pantry is we're open 3 days a week. There are townships that are open 1 day a month. We're open 3 days a week, 2 mornings and an afternoon, to try and work around people's schedules. And if they can't go Tuesday morning, Thursday morning, or Wednesday afternoon, call for an appointment. We will see you other times. We just don't set up the pantry for other times.
Where does the food supply come from? Does it come from the Northern Illinois Food Bank or
We
direct
do
local
purchase from the
donations?
Northern Illinois Food Bank. We have, your children's school. There are school drives, the businesses, the cities, the park districts, the school districts, the postal drive, the second Saturday in May. Our food pantry is operated with donations from the public exclusively. We don't use tax dollars. And we have an annual fundraiser at Sunset Foods where people add money onto their bill, and we buy fresh produce all year long with it. We pick up donated produce, dairy, meat at 6 stores 8 times a week. Our volunteers do. Another group of volunteers sorts it, and if they would feed it to their family, then we offer it to our clients. Otherwise, we compost it for our garden. And we just have tremendous donations from the public. We live in an extraordinary community where we have both ends of the economic spectrum, but the people who are doing well in our community genuinely care about their neighbors who are struggling. 26% of our elementary students in Moraine Township, in Highland Park and Highwood, qualify for the free reduced lunch program. So.
Where's the community garden?
It is Woodridge Park, which is, when you get off on Clavey Road and go west, you turn on a Barbary, it dead ends at Woodridge Park.
Okay.
And it's run exclusively with volunteers. The head volunteer has done it for 10 years. We have 2 master gardeners, and volunteers are welcome all summer. I'll come back in May and tell you all about it.
Really? And then the only question that I need is the passport application processing, so that's a full service akin to what you would get at USPS.
And we'll even take your picture.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
come and see us. As a matter of fact, we applied for a passport for my granddaughter today. She's 2.
Nice.
So,
Thank you.
all right, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. You're always wonderful to talk to.
Thanks a lot.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right. Next, Highland Park Highwood Legal Aid Clinic. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. My name is Susan Schulman. I'm am the executive director of the Highland Park Highwood Legal Aid Clinic. I would like to thank everyone for having us here tonight to talk about Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I also want to thank the City of Highwood and Celebrate Highwood for generously supporting us every year with Taco Run. I know some of you were at that. They raised $8,000 for the clinic this year, so we look forward to a long partnership in that. We really do like that. So the mission of the Highland Park Highwood Legal Aid Clinic, and to kind of follow up on what Anne was saying, we do live in an incredible community where we have both economic extremes. So our mission is to provide legal services to those in need who live in Highland Park Highwood and West Deerfield Township in the areas of immigration, domestic violence, and housing. Just some background on the clinic. We have experienced exponential growth since our founding in 2015. When we started out, there was a part-time executive director. We had a budget of about $60,000, and we had 70 cases in that year. This year in 2018, we have a staff of 7. We have a budget of $500,000, and we've had 450 cases to date. And that's to give you, it has been a wild ride. That's all I'm going to say. But tonight I want to talk a little bit about Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It is October, and that is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I think many of you know that domestic violence is when one person in an intimate relationship abuses the other partner. And that abuse can be physical, emotional, or financial. The Partnership for a Safer Lake County estimates that 88,000 women in Lake County will experience domestic violence in their lifetime. Typically, domestic violence impacts 1 in 3 women. It is the single leading cause of injury and death for women, and it affects women of all socioeconomic, ethnic, and cultural backgrounds. On average, more than 3 women are murdered by their husbands or boyfriends every day. In fact, in Lake County in 2017, homicides were all domestic violence related. In a single year, over 20,000 children in Lake County will witness domestic violence. It is the most common and the least reported of all crimes, and national statistics indicate that 44% of domestic violence incidents go unreported. Here, in our service area, there were more than 300 domestic violence incidents that were reported to the police during 2017. And what we do at the clinic is provide legal services to those survivors, and that is at no cost. And for domestic violence, we do have income requirements for our immigration and our housing clients, but for domestic violence, because often they do not have access to their finances, we have no financial requirements. And we help them obtain orders of protection, be that emergency or plenary. We also help them with divorce, child support, parentage agreements, and for some immigrants, there are some remedies and pathways to citizenship that are related to domestic violence, so we help out with that as well. Sometimes these legal services are only advice and counsel, and that's because it takes typically a domestic violence survivor 7 attempts to leave. And the reason it takes so long is the most dangerous time for a domestic violence survivor is when she decides to leave that relationship. So often our role is just to give advice, let them know that we're here. They go through years of divorce, years of abuse. And that is why you'll see I'm wearing purple. I have a purple ribbon. I believe we actually sent you guys purple ribbons, so think about wearing them. During this month, the clinic is doing many, many things to, you didn't get them? Did nobody get them?
They're probably downstairs. We don't always look in our
Okay, yeah, we got this. Yeah, we sent them out, right? See, Jan's wearing one too, he's with us. During October, the clinic's doing several things to raise awareness. One is we're trying to get these purple ribbons out to people. We're also using social media to raise awareness about the statistics that I just gave you. We have a web page that is devoted and discusses the statistics I just said. We also have physical displays in Highland Park, Lake Forest, Deerfield, in the libraries, I think in Highwood as well, just with various information about domestic violence and making people aware of the issue. We have several local businesses distributing flyers. Ross's in Highland Park is doing they're giving us a donation of their proceeds for anything they sell this month. And then we're also working closely with our partners, that is Shalva, A Safe Place, I don't want to mess anyone, NCJW, we just did a panel with them, and JCast on sex trafficking. And so that's what we've done because we've been able to do this. We started the practice in 2017. our practice has increased around 400%. We're very, very proud of that. So that's a little bit of a background on us. Thank you for inviting us here tonight. And
Thank you for all your hard
Thank
work.
you.
thank you very much.
Susan, what do you do, just one quick question, what do you
Sure.
do when you get cases that don't fall within those three areas? So if it's, I don't know, education related or employment related or something else, do you refer them?
Yes, we do. So we have a panel of attorneys who sit on an attorney advisory board, and we typically will send that case out. We'll do the intake, because we certainly know enough to do the intake.
Sure,
And then we'll send it out to an attorney. We usually get a pro bono attorney to take it.
great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And try to get some more people to run next year.
I will.
So we'll get some teams going.
I think that would be great.
Right?
I think that would be great. I would love that. It gets
It'd be
bigger
great
every
if we
year.
could pay for the whole thing in one run.
Yep, we could,
Right.
yeah, wouldn't that be nice? That would be awesome. No, it gets bigger every year, so
Yes, it
cross my
does.
fingers. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let's see here. Committee reports, we have none. Treasurer's report, we went through pre-session.
So moved.
All right. Do I have a second to approve the August 2018 Treasurer's report?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. Moving down to new business, 12.1, this evening I have a consideration.
I'd like to make an omnibus motion
Oh,
for
all of them?
12.1, 12.3, 12.4, 12.6, 12.7, 12.8, and 12.10. The others we are not voting on tonight.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Can you just go through those numbers?
12.1, 12.3, 12.4, 12.6, 12.7, 12.8, and 12.10.
Very bold.
Crazy.
It's been a long time since we did no resolutions.
They are all resolutions.
You're expecting that?
All right, I'll read every
Yeah,
resolution.
Yeah, read each
Resolution,
one.
read them out.
All right, 12.1 is a consideration of resolution approving an ARC application for a wall and door sign for a microbrewery known as Beer Miscuous. That is gonna be at 552 Sheridan Road.
Opening Friday.
Ribbon cutting on Thursday.
Opening Friday, but for the
Yeah,
public.
Ribbon
Friday.
Friday.
Soft opening.
Okay,
It's special people.
For those-
Hard cider,
those in
soft
town.
opening.
gotcha. 12.2, which we are not going on this evening, is consideration resolution approving an ARC application for window signage at street level studio. We're gonna wait for that variation to come through first. 12.3, which we are voting on, is a consideration of a resolution approving an ARC application for a wall sign for a new restaurant known as La Plancha Loca at 548 Sheridan Road. 12.4, we are voting on this evening, is consideration of resolution approving an ARC application for a new facade for a portion of an existing shopping center. That's 800 Sheridan Road. So look really nice when they get that done. 12.5, we are not voting on this evening, is a consideration of motion directing staff to proceed to bidding for the Euclid Avenue and Euclid Court reconstruction project. That's just the wrong name.
And we directed.
And we directed the staff.
Okay. I won't have to do it.
No.
12.6, consideration, we are voting on this evening, a resolution requesting Metro consider adding an express stop at the Highwood station when train schedules are modified. 12.7, we are voting on is consideration of a motion authorizing the city manager to sign a supplemental agreement to operate the Fort Sheridan Metro station. 12.8, consideration of a resolution approving an amended mutual aid agreement for the Northern Illinois Police Alarm Systems. 12.9, we are not voting on this evening, is consideration of resolution of the corporate authorities to determine the amount for the levy for the tax year. That's where we're in problems. 2017 should be 2018. And then 12.10, which we are voting on, is a consideration of a resolution authorizing the execution of a second amendment to the water lease agreement with T-Mobile for the location and operation of their cellular equipment on the city's water tower. So I would need a motion to take the omnibus.
Have a motion in a second.
We have a motion and a second. Just all in favor, is it roll call?
Roll call for the omnibus.
Roll call.
Alderman Faber,
Yes.
Espadowski.
Aye.
Slavin,
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
I'm back. least you didn't say no. That was
Need a
Get
motion
over
to
here.
approve those items on the omnibus.
I'll make that motion.
Second motion.
Is this roll call? Vote?
It is.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Peterson,
Aye.
Slavin,
Aye.
Fowler,
Yes.
Aspudowski.
Aye.
I feel like I cheated.
That's it?
All fast.
I feel like we, yeah, it's,
You like that?
it feels wrong, but
There,
it's
circle
so good
that.
in
I
the same,
circled
same
everything
ways.
too. Through and through.
All right.
Poker hand.
On that note, we have no executive session, no necessary action coming out of executive session, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
No second? Just a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Please vote.
We are adjourned.